It's time to put on your hard hat, maybe your hazmat suit, because we are about to dive in to La Liga. Now, we're going to have to talk about it. We have to talk about El Clasico on Sunday, one of the wildest matches you've ever seen. And in doing so, I'm putting myself in great danger of antagonizing both the fan bases of Real Madrid and Barcelona. But I just want you to know, no matter what we talk about here today, it's not personal. I don't hate either of the club's fan bases. I feel like the vast majority of us had a beer and watched a game together, we'd get along, right? But I've got opinions, right? And I'm going to share them. And we're gonna stand our ground and stare into each other's eyes until it becomes sensual again. Hope you're okay with that. All right. Anyways, El Clasico this weekend, Sunday. If you missed it, you missed absolute cinema. Okay, because incredible match. First of all, 2-2 into stoppage time. Jude Bellingham scores the winner, right? Somebody put up the bat signal, and Jude Bellingham arrived at the back post to score the winner. 3-2, but incredible match. Back and forth and drama and penalty, all this stuff. And there was also a check for a possible goal, which you might be wondering how that is possible, okay? Because we're going to talk, there's a bunch of other stuff that happened in this match, and we are going to talk about it. But I want to lock in on this first. Because if you're thinking, well, check for a possible goal, that sounds weird. Doesn't La Liga use goal line technology? That's where you'd be wrong. It doesn't. La Liga does not use goal line technology. In the year of our Lord, 2024, there is no goal line technology in La Liga. That should be impossible. I want to just, little headline, that's a joke. That is a joke. That makes no sense. I looked it up. You know how much money La Liga makes in a year? 2 billion euros, right? And we can't find a way to implement goal line technology. I was curious about this, right? So I looked this up, and obviously there was an incident during the game where goal line technology would have been kind of useful, right? That's an incident that they were reviewing on VAR to see if it was a goal or not. Well, it turns out that Javier Tebas, who is an avid follower of this channel, obviously, refused to pay the 3 million, not billion, million euros, that's $3.2 million, it would cost to install the system. 1/33 of an Antony is all it costs to install goal line technology in your entire league. I mean, there are points in the last 10, 15 years, the league has been the best league in the world. I don't think that's exactly at this point right now. Right, but seriously, this is a league that is capable of setting the standard. Goal line technology was invented before VAR became a thing, right? You had the watch on the referee and you immediately knew whether it was a goal or not. That's existed for a long time. If you would ask me if La Liga had goal line technology, I would have bet my life savings that it did. How the hell does it not? Right, you have a $2 billion budget. You reported a 12 million euro profit. Just make less profit. That's pure profit on top of your expenses. I mean, this is like a budget report, like a government. You make $2 billion and you spend it on whatever. I don't care what you're spending it on. I'm sure the vast majority of the stuff that you're spending that $2 billion on is less important than having goal line technology. The basic, most important part of technology refereeing football or soccer, right? Like, having VAR to review offside and potential red cards, that's great. The most important thing that you need to have is the ability to say whether that is a goal or whether that is not a goal, right? You need to have that technology. It blows my mind that you don't. I already obviously think that Javier Tebas is a very weird guy that seems a little out of touch with the world, right? And the fact that he has refused to pay 3 million euros, again, 1/33 of an Antony, right? If we're looking at Ousmane Dembele, right, and how much Barcelona spent on Ousmane Dembele and Philippe Coutinho, we're talking about like 150th of the amount that they spent on the. I mean, there's so much money going around in all of this nonsense. You can't find 3 million. Javier Tebas makes 6 million euros a year, right? I mean, woe is me, right, to suggest that he should take a pay cut. He shouldn't have to because the league is making 2 billion euros annually. Right? I mean, if you have a budget of 2 billion euros, right? Somebody just take a few less flights, lower the level of your catering a bit, and you're going to be able to afford to install goal line technology. I cannot get over this. I know you haven't even seen the play yet. Don't worry, I'm going to show you. Right? This is the play. in a Clasico that was decided in stoppage time 3-2. This is the play. Look at this ball. Right? In great effort by Lunin to keep this ball out. It's a flick on from Lamine Yamal. And obviously the angle is from, we're looking into the goal a little bit. And so it looks more in than it is. Right? But look at this ball, man. That you cannot have a play like this and not be, when the rest of the world has the technology to tell you whether it is or not. This is like living in this is like living in a tropical part of the world, right? Like you live in the Caribbean, okay? And I can talk about this. I grew up on the fringe of the Caribbean. I grew up in Florida, right? I grew up in a Hurricane Alley, right? This is like living in that area and just not having radar. Right. And you just have some idiot in a watchtower with binoculars looking out at the ocean like, hey, Bob, looks a little dark out there today. Might be a problem, where everybody else has radar and they can tell you if it's a problem or not. But you just have some idiot in a tower trying to tell you whether a hurricane's coming. Right. You'd rather actually know. OK, and there is back in the day, right before the technology was available. Yeah, this was a lot harder and you'd have these long debates about it. But there was already the answer, right? This is like not using a calculator to double check your work on a math test. Like you're just doing it by hand because you're like, you're asking the landlord to raise your rent because you believe in the Sigma grind set. Like, no, we don't need goal line technology. We need to figure it out the hard way. No, what the hell? Oh my God, it doesn't make any sense. And this match is so important. And the problem is we're never going to know. Right, because this is where the ball is saved, and it's a great effort again from Lunin to try and shovel this off the line. It's a great flick from Lamine Yamal that puts him under pressure. And just to give you an idea as to why I'm not 100% saying this is a goal, if you look at it from the other angle, you can see how a part of this ball might still be over the line, right? Because this is the angle that's kind of looking out from the goal, and you can see that this definitely there's a chance that a small part of the ball is over the line. But you know what the interesting thing is? Nobody will ever know. Because the one thing that could have solved this question, right, is goal line technology, which we just are not using for some reason. We've just made the executive decision to not have the most important tool that you could possibly have to officiate a modern football match in arguably the biggest league in the world, one that has undoubtedly been one of the biggest league in the world in the last 10, 15 years. Mind-blowing. This play is so stupid. This debate should never happen. And obviously the ramifications have been huge. First, Laporta. I've had my disagreements with Laporta and the way he's done things in the past. Totally agree with him here. We asked the RFEF to provide us with all the images and audio of Lamine's canceled goal. If it was a legal goal, we do not rule out asking to replay the match. We will go further. We will not rule anything out. So this is kind of a similar sounding thing to what Nottingham Forest was doing, except this I feel like is more official and more on the nose. They want to see all of the images. They want to hear the audio, right? And they are not ruling out, if they can prove that this ball went over the line, asking for a replay. Do I think the replay will be given? No, not in a million years. No league is ever going to sanction a replay of a match because of one missed call. Missed calls are parts, it's a part of the game, unfortunately, right? And it just feels, it's always felt weird to me, the idea that you're going to try and issue a replay for a match that literally you'd be erasing all of the other actions that happened in that match. Obviously, if you can prove this was a mistake, like if you can somehow find the angle that definitively proves this ball went all the way over the line, then great. I don't know if that's great, right? But then awesome. Then you need to have a conversation. You can definitely hold that over the referee counsel's head, or maybe, I don't know, there's some sort of settlement that can be reached, but I don't think a replay is going to happen. I would be very, very surprised if it did. Does Barcelona deserve a replay? If they can find the evidence that this ball went over the line. Like, I don't know if there doesn't seem like there's going to be any camera or anything that's going to be right down the line where you can say 100% for sure that the ball went over. But if they can, then honestly, that's a heartbreaker. But the problem is teams like England, they didn't get the replay for the hand of God goal from Maradona. I mean, sometimes you just have to swallow a really bitter pill. And I have to say, probably it's a good thing for La Liga that hopefully they can sort this stuff out without this being a match of more importance. I mean, I realize it's El Clasico, right? But Real Madrid is also comfortably on top of the league right now. If this has been a match where things were still more up in the air, then I think the replay would even more so be on the table, because you could make a legitimate argument that the title race was was completely altered by this call. And the interesting thing is the league actually got back to them very quickly and did release the audio that transpired. And I have it for you here. First, it was VAR said, we are looking for evidence. This angle is not useful. This other angle is not useful. This one is not useful. So you hear VAR going through the different angles. Obviously, I'm not going to play the audio for you. I don't know if anybody has it, but it'll also be in Spanish, and I can't translate. And then the guy says, no rush, the guy being the ref, no rush. It's an important decision, which love that. Love that composure in a Classico moment to be like, hey, no rush. Take a deep breath. We're going to find this. We will, and then the VAR says we will resume with a corner kick. We do not have any evidence that the ball crossed the line. That's a kick in the teeth, dude. Because this line, this is officials' parlance for it could have crossed the line. We can't prove that it didn't cross the line, but we also can't prove that it did. And if you can't prove that it did, you have to stick with the call on the field. And this just brings me back to the fact that it is inexcusable for La Liga to not have goal line technology. Whether you're a Barcelona, Real Madrid fan, or a freaking Coventry fan, because I was just talking about you yesterday, you should be mad at La Liga for not having goal line technology. I mean, it is absolutely, it's unconscionable. Like, it's unbelievable to me. Sorry, I keep talking about it because I actually can't believe it happened. But the one other chaotic thing that happened in this match that I wanted to make sure I talked about, I mentioned that I was going to touch on kind of the rest of the chaos. It was the other thing that Xavi was losing his mind about, that the official law, Xavi was very intent that he said the official kind of lost him the game. He didn't want to outwardly criticize the official because he did the classic coach thing where he's like, I'll be fined if I say what I want to say, but the official cost us the game. So the other part of that was this play, and where I feel like Barcelona was absolutely wronged in the fact that there is not goal line technology, because there is definitely a non-zero chance that was a goal from Lamine Yamal. This, I think, was actually the right call. Now, I realize what it looks like. I'm just going to play it for you first, so you just have a watch. This is a penalty that was given and scored to Real Madrid. So obviously, he sticks his right leg out here to create, to kind of wrap around and create bigger contact. But unlike the Bukayo Saka play that I've talked about before here and on stream and anywhere else, but also appreciate you guys stopping by stream. I've started to meet people that have found me through Zealandism, which is very cool. From this tight-knit community, they come in and tell me to eat turtles, and then everybody else in the stream is like, what are you talking about? But Vasquez here, because this is Lucas Vasquez, and this tweet even says disgusting from Lucas Vasquez. I'm sorry, right? Like, I got to be brave here and stand up. Not this is actual bravery, right? I got to stand up. I think this is a penalty. I think it's a foul. I think it's a really stupid tackle. You see him extend his foot all the way. He doesn't get anywhere near the ball. And before Lucas Vasquez's right leg even gets to this guy's leg, Lucas Vasquez is already fouled on his left leg here. He gets Bukayo Saka's left leg is in the breeze as he throws his right leg into Manuel Neuer on that penalty that wasn't called for Arsenal that people kept comparing this Lucas Vasquez play to. But he gets fouled here. I mean, his left foot, before he extends that right foot to obviously try and draw more contact, you can see it from this angle right here. His left foot gets hit. He's trying, both of his legs get cleaned out here. And I don't think he's moving his left foot at all to try and create the contact. I think this is just a terrible tackle. To be perfectly honest, I think Lucas Vasquez trying to create more contact, that he ended up making this look worse and turning this into a debate. If he just takes that clip on the left foot and just falls over straight forward instead of throwing his right leg out, I think nobody's talking about this. This looks like a pretty straightforward penalty. But this, to me, was just the product of a heightened match where people are going to debate and nitpick on every call. But the thing that actually is insane, the thing that makes absolutely no sense, is that we've got a VAR official legitimately talking about how he cannot find a useful angle to review a goal when there is quite literally technology out there that is supposed to be able to help you do that. It blows my mind. And I feel bad for Barcelona fans that had to happen. And I've seen Real Madrid fans that were online as well. Obviously some of them making fun of Barcelona fans like, we got you again. But some of them coming online the same way as some Manchester United fans coming online after the Coventry City match, where you're just like, man, that just felt weird. Maybe even more so. How this feels like it's 2008. right? And you're watching a ball hit the crossbar and go over the line in the World Cup, and you're just like, wow, the linesman didn't see that. That's a crazy bad call. Except it's so much more frustrating than then, because you know there's a way for them to have gotten the right answer, but Javier Tebas couldn't find 3 million euros in a 2 billion euro budget. So I guess this is just the world we have to live in. A brilliant, heart-stopping El Clasico that instead of us talking about, you know, the brilliant, heart-stopping nature of El Clasico and me just mentioning the final goal once, we're talking about the fact that it's unbelievable that we don't know if this is a goal or not. Seriously.